Hello, witches. Yes, it is Wednesday. Grab a goat, grab an umbrella, grab a great big magical carpet bag because it is time for the Witches Movie Coven. And this time we're going back. We're going pretty far back to 1964 and the classic musical Mary Poppins. Indeed, Mary Poppins. I'm very excited about this. But I'm not giving away anything yet, right? But we hope you guys watched it. And I am Patti Negri. I am one of your hosts. You might know me from my podcast, The Witching Hour. I forgot the name. Television here and there. YouTube here and there. My school, University Magicus. My books, Dollcraft or Old World Magic. Or just bathroom walls with me and my goat. Let me pass this on to my beautiful co-host. Let's start with the lovely Richard-Lael this week.
Hello. Yes. Thank you so much. I am Richard-Lael. Richard-Lael is one name, not two. It says it right there. If I were just Richard, I saw you getting ready for it. I'd be a D. I'd be a Dick Van Dyke.
Oh.
Thank you very much. And
Yes.
down with the golden locks, Jason Mankey.
Good evening, witches. I'm Jason Mankey. I've written 10 books. I've written 10, I do swear. 10, here's one of them. There's 9 more.
Thank you very much.
Whole show gonna do that, Patti.
Yeah, great. And oh god. And last but never ever least, the extra gorgeous today. Oh, she's got her hex glasses on. All the way from south,
Poised.
only Heather Greene.
Hi, I am Heather Greene. I'm the author of Lights, Camera, Witchcraft. It is the critical history of witches in American film and television. And yes, this film is mentioned a little bit in the book. I am also an editor at Llewellyn Worldwide, and I am a journalist covering all things occult in the mainstream media. And I'm also at Mystic South. You'll notice this is not my usual background. I am at the hotel. Mystic South begins tomorrow evening. I am on the board, so I'm also on the board of Mystic South, and we begin tomorrow night, kickoff for all you sports fans out there, and we go all weekend with 600, 700, 800 of your favorite witchy friends all together for magical fun and games.
Beautiful.
In Atlanta.
And thank you. And in the background, we have beautiful Tabitha Meadows running our chat room for us and keeping us in the know about everything. And now we may or may not. We have Thumper Forge. He was here moments ago, but there's magic in this movie, as you know. So he may appear and reappear as we.
He's in the chat.
He's in the chat.
He said, I'm here and alive, even if my phone is not.
Okay. All right. Well, all of our fingers are crossed. Our magic bag is being dug into. And again, Mary Poppins, 1964. Richard-Lael, just in case somebody has not seen this film yet, I can't imagine, but do you have an unbiased synopsis of this lovely movie?
You have, but before we go too far, I want to make certain that everyone goes to the QR code right up here. Mystery Control. If you want to sleep with me, you can get my pillow. One day you'll be able to get in Patty's panties again, but until then, you could be a bro witch, or you can get quotes, and you can get our books, their books. Anyway, right there. So also the likes, comments, and shares, that helps us to continue giving great programming for viewers like you. So before we begin, I actually wanted to tell a little history, a little bit that people don't know or people wouldn't know. Now, old Hollywood is one of my favorite things in the world. I love it so much. And I love to study like where people come from. Now, a long time ago, there was a young man who had moved to Hollywood, and he was going to be big. He was going to be a big star. And he went into the producer's office and they said, your name is not going to work. And he says, well, what's wrong with my name? Penis, truck, lesbian. And he says, why don't you shorten it? So it became Dick Van Dyke. Just. Anyway, thank you so much for the humor. The story is based off of the 1930s books, and it takes place, unlike the books, the books take place in 1930s. The film takes place in 1910 England, and it starts off with a family who the children are relentless about getting rid of their nannies. They always sort of they don't last long. And so they have decided, you start off at the beginning of the movie with a nanny quitting because the children have run away. And they are very good at driving away nannies, but they decided to make a list, and they would check it twice, and they would say, "High on a hill was a lonely goatherd." No, I'm just kidding. That's different. That's a different film. They wanted a nanny who was kind. They wanted a nanny who would make them laugh. They wanted a nanny who would nourish them. There was this long list of things, and they went to their father and presented him with this list of what they desired in a caregiver. And Mr. Banks was cruel. And Mr. Banks ripped the paper up and threw it in the fireplace, which inevitably blew right up the chimney, and the east wind arrived, and so did Mary Poppins on her umbrella. And she drove away all of the other would-be nannies, because I'm certain so many people would want to be lined up in 1910 to take care of two wonderfully delightful children and their father, who is also a wonderfully delightful child. Anyway, they all blow away, and Mary Poppins takes them on adventures. She actually has put the papers together, and she shows up and she says, "Well, these are the qualifications that you have asked for. This is who I am." And when asked for references, she doesn't believe in giving references. You know why? Because she's a witch or an alien like Pennywise. I haven't figured it out yet. Anyway. So she ends up by going on great adventures, where she also meets the street artist and one-man band, and also sometimes chimney sweep, because it's 1910, Dick Van Dyke, Bert, who has the best Cockney accent that is in no way fake at all whatsoever. It's really English, absolutely. And he does it the entire movie because it's a real accent. Anyway, they go through paintings, they ride horses in the paintings, and Mary Poppins, of course, wins because she does. The bag takes magic things out. And then, according to the SNL sketch, she passes off an STD to Bert. And she has that's a different story. You should go watch that SNL sketch. At the end, the family has come together. They have realized that they are much more joyful together, because Mr. Banks, who works at a bank, even though it's on the nose, gets fired because of a joke that the children had told him. And then he realizes, I don't need a job. Why should I have a job? It's 1910. I don't need a job at the bank. I have family. And then the wind blows and off goes Mary Poppins. I think that's it.
Along with Fly a Kite.
Oh yeah, flying a kite. Yeah, that too. Oh! I wanted to tell you. Speaking of flying a kite, so actually, a lot of people don't know this about me. Was that my great grandfather would have invented electricity, but he was poor. In fact, I have a photo of him at home hiring a kite. He had to hire one. He was hiring a kite. That's it.
I apologize on behalf of everyone watching the show tonight for Richard-Lael. He's apparently pretty wound up.
Yeah.
Though the Dick Van Dyke joke to start though was pretty good. I gotta go with that.
All right. Well, thank you for that complete, unbiased synopsis of the film that many of us may not have seen since we were small children, but maybe there is a little bit more information, and maybe, just maybe, our own Heather Greene has that information. Heather?
Sure. I'm going to give you just a light overview, because there's so many things to look back. I mean, there's so much history around old movies. It's so much fun to dig into when you start reading books and stories about the way these were filmed and stuff. And like Richard-Lael, old Hollywood is not only my expertise, a lot of my study, but also just I love it. And so I'm just going to give an overview of what we're looking at here and what we're talking about. Mary Poppins, it was released originally in 1964, August of that year. It is not the first live action animation film that they did. That was Song of the South. But it is one of the most well-known where they did live action and animation. Walt Disney, that is. It was directed by Robert Stevenson. We've heard his name before, Bedknobs and Broomsticks. He did a lot of Disney's live action movies. It was written by Bill Walsh and Don DeGrady. I'll talk about the origins in a second. It got 13 Academy Award nominations. It won 2 Grammy Awards. It won Best Actress, Best Film Editing, Best Original Score, and Best Song, Chim Chimney, Chim Chimney, Chim Chim Chiree, and visual effects. So it did get a lot of the Academy Awards. Its budget at the time was $6 million. It has since earned well over 102 million, and then even more for DVD, more actually, 120 something plus for DVDs and CDs and all that, all that good, not CDs, I don't know what I'm saying, videotape and DVDs and all that stuff. And then, of course, the music is by the Sherman Brothers. We've heard of them before here on the show, and I'll let Patti talk about them because she knew them personally. So we'll hear about them a little bit later. Let's talk about the cast. I'm not going to do everybody's a lot of people in this cast. I'm just going to hit some highlights. Julie Andrews, of course. If you do not know who Julie Andrews is, I just need to put on my glasses right now because she is the GOAT. She had Academy Awards, Emmy Awards, Grammy Awards. She's fantastic. And little teeny Heather wanted to be her when she grew up. This is her film debut. She started in Broadway, or not Broadway, but in musicals. And this was her film debut. You might think it was actually Sound of Music, but this was her film debut. Sound of Music was the next year. We have seen her before on the show. She was in Shrek, actually. She was one of the voices in Shrek. She's been in a lot of stuff recently. She is wonderful. Not that I'm giving my opinion. Dick Van Dyke, who has also already been mentioned, another classic. This man is going to be 101 years old in December. That is crazy. He is still going. He has 6 Emmys, Grammy Awards, Tony Awards, Kennedy Center honors. He started in television. He became a household name for the Dick Van Dyke Show, which was around the same time as this movie. His first film was Bye Bye Baby. And I will not start singing when I say that because I'm so happy I can say that on the show. Old musical fan, Patti Negri. So the kids are interesting. I just want to mention them. Matthew Gerber, we've seen him before. No, we have not seen him before, but he actually unfortunately died at the age of 21, 1977. He plays Michael, but he was in a movie that is just, I think, right before this called The 3 Lives of Thomasina. Some of you may remember that one. Also kind of on the witchy side, too. One day we might want to look at that one. He was also later in Gnome-mobile with his actress Karen Dotrice, who plays the sister in this one. They both were in a Gnome-mobile Disney film, which I have never heard of, which is very strange for this period of time for me not to hear of a movie. So it's probably terrible. She was also in The 3 Lives of Thomasina, and Karen did make an appearance in the second Mary Poppins, which Mary Poppins Returns, which I'll mention in a little bit. The last actor I want to talk about is David Tomlinson. He is a face. There is The 3 Lives of Thomasina. David Tomlinson, he is a face from that period of time that many people will recognize. There he is. He was in Love Bug. Of course, we saw him Bedknobs and Broomsticks. He was in a ton of things. He plays Mr. Banks. He died in 2000. So he's another person just to mention. So the origins we've already heard about. There were books written by P.L. Travers, which is a pen name. Pamela Lyndon Travers. That was not her original name. She was a Shakespearean actress who started writing this first book, I think, in 1943. Let me check my notes here. 1934 was the first Mary Poppins book. There were 7 after that. The last one was written in 1988 when she was 89 years old. So this is a series of Mary Poppins books written. She wrote the first one. She's from Australia originally, grew up in England. She wrote the first one, was published as a story in New Zealand. So it's kind of an international thing here. Of course, you can watch Saving Mr. Banks, which is a movie that was done about Disney's pursuing her for the story.
I was in that movie.
Yeah, Richard-Lael was in that movie. I was about to, hold on. Yep, got the note. Richard-Lael, what were you in that movie doing? Would you walk down the street?
No, you can't. I was background. I was new to Hollywood. And it was my first year in Hollywood, and I was limo driver number 3 at the premiere at the Chinese Theater. And I had this fabulous 1964 Cadillac limousine. And as I hadn't driven a car that big in forever, and I pulled up to the curb, and it went,
whoops,
right as they were filming, and they were like, okay, cut, go back, reset. And then I go back to the start, and they say, okay, start up your engines. We're going to drive through. And I turned on the car, and then the starter engaged. The engine came on, and the starter would not stop starting. So I may not actually be in the film, but I was there when they were filming the film.
Well, that film is about how that worked and how he got the film, and he pursued it. They pursued it for quite some time. Disney loved it when he got his idea on something. When he wanted something, he would pursue it for years and years. He didn't let it go. And this was one of those properties he wanted for a very long time. Let's talk about Mary Poppins Returns, which was released in 2008 with Emily Blunt, Lin-Manuel Miranda, if you love him, from Hamilton fame, of course, Colin Firth, Meryl Streep, David Warner, his last film, and cameos by Angela Lansbury. And actually, that was supposed to be Julie Andrews, but she turned it down. She didn't want to upstage anybody. Karen Doltris, which I already noted. Dick Van Dyke makes an appearance in it. It was directed by Rob Marshall, which is notable because he has directed and produced and did choreography for a lot of the big musical films. And he is actually, I just learned, working on producing Guys and Dolls. I am over the top excited about that because I love Guys and Dolls. But he did Chicago. He did the 99 Annie, Into the Woods, Memoir of a Geisha, which is not a musical, but a ton of stuff. So this movie did get critical acclaim. Most people liked it. It got its money back. It is, it's an interesting modern take. And of course, Emily Blunt is the Mary Poppins coming back to help the Banks family once again. Finally, my last note is magical nannies. And this is the debate that we kind of have touched on over the years while we've been doing this show. And I think it was just brought up, is Mary Poppins a witch? So, I talk about my book, Magical Nannies, as a type of adjacent to the witch or a type of witch, a magical nanny. We have Nanny McPhee. You have, what's her name? Miss Egeldine Price. You have other type of magical nannies that come in, magical moms that come in to take care of kids. You even can think they might be fairies, kind of like the 3 fairies of Sleeping Beauty who raise Aurora. Is she a fairy? Is she a magical fairy? Is she a magical nanny separate? Is she an evil clown from the underworld, as Richard-Lael suggests? What is she just a witch in a different form? Is this just another type of witch? She definitely has magic. So that's something we can talk about, and we can have our chat cover members weigh in on. Is she a witch? What do you think, guys?
I think she's an alien. I think she is the Pennywise. She is akin to Pennywise. I also think that she is akin to the witch in Weapons. I think that she's the nice aspect of it. It's sort of like the Monsters Inc., where they all of these magical beings sort of teleport through one place to another, and they live for fear and terror. But then they realize, oh well, I can actually I can feed off of their energy, but make them laugh. Same thing.
Well, Tabitha says she's an elemental, a fae.
Clearly, she's a demigod. She's probably the daughter of Zeus and Hera, or some equivalent from a different pantheon, sent to Earth to do good deeds to help mortals in need who make the proper sacrifices to the gods. They just didn't show the Banks family doing that in the movie because they were worried about the Christians getting angry. But if you look at the subtext, it's very clear they're a devout pagan family worshiping the Greek gods, and then a demigoddess comes down and bails them out in their darkest hour, and does it twice because, of course, she comes back in Mary Poppins Returns. So that's what she is.
25 years later, like Pennywise.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just going to say she's a witch. Dang it. She's a witch who traded her broom for an umbrella. She has her magic carpet bag. That is such a witchy thing to have. She shows up when she is needed. She leaves when she is needed. She doesn't over-explain anything. She doesn't give excuses for anything. She works on the wind. So the elemental thing works for me, and the fae works for me. But I'm just going to go, she's the modern witch of 1964.
She doesn't over-explain anything. Some of those songs last a long time. Especially when you're a young 8-year-old Jason and you don't quite understand musicals yet. So yeah, she does over-explain a little bit. Like, how many times do you have to say a spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down, down, down in the most delightful way? We get it. I'm having some Robitussin and then I'm having some sugar. You don't have to say it 17 times.
This is a nanny trait because she does explain why you shouldn't be afraid of a thunderstorm in The Sound of Music in the same length of time. And all the look at that. He's a downer.
Thunderstorm.
See, so it must be a nanny thing. It's not really, that's not a witch thing. It's a nanny thing. A nanny thing needs to explain things multiple times over and over in song perfectly to upset children and children that don't want to do what they're supposed to do. This is a nanny thing.
Children should just pay attention.
But she doesn't make excuses for herself. She does not make excuses for herself whatsoever. Proper witch all the way.
I will tell you, though, with your explanation, Heather, that may actually be true. She may actually be a witch with your explanation because, a little known fact about me, I actually was a daycare teacher, not quite a nanny, but I was a nanny witch. And I would have to explain to these 3-year-old children, and I would have to sometimes do it in song, and I would have to repeat it 17 times so that they would get the essence. So maybe you're right. Maybe she is a nanny witch.
And she has a magical word. It's supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Even though
you say it backwards, because that one irritates me when it's
Expialidocious, something like that. Indubitably
backwards.
That is how I learned to spell, you guys. That is how I learned to spell. That was my entry into spelling. That music is the soundtrack of my life. That is the soundtrack of my life. The music can't be, it still rings in my head 100 years later. So yeah, let's talk about the music. Let's talk about the Sherman Brothers. Yes, she's a witch. She's an elemental. She's a fae. She's Pennywise. Okay. The Sherman Brothers, they were the musical brothers. They actually were staff writers for Disney, for the Walt Disney Company. And everyone knows their music. I mean, I don't think you can escape their music. Look at that. Look at those songs right there. I mean, even the song that you love to hate, It's a World of Wonder, Small World, is the Sherman Brothers.
You can't hate that song.
I hate that song.
I love that song.
People without a heart.
Love to hate that song.
It's just not going well.
Love to hate it. You don't hate it. You love to hate it.
I am
No,
not
you love it.
thing. You love it. But
I'm
Sharon Mueller, I just want to say how I'm just honored. I was barely a girl, just hitting 21 to be able to get into this place. I went on an audition I was a dancer, a baby actor, baby theater person, on this place to do these shows at this place downtown called the Variety Arts Center. It was owned by Milt Larson. It was a private club. The guy who started the Magic Castle, which almost everybody's heard of, world famous Magic Castle. He just passed a year, maybe 2 years ago. And I went on this audition and got hired as a chorus dancer and chorus girl and kind of their little dumb blind comic thing. And little did I know, I spent 10 years doing original music with the Sherman Brothers. Dick Sherman was there every night. We'd come up with a new show every week or two. We did 2 shows a night. It was old-fashioned, big ballroom dinner theater songs and dances and bad little sketches. We did a show called The Whoopee Club, all original music. We did a show called Variety Vanities of 1938. We would go through these years. It was an early version. It was a private club. Women had to wear dresses. Men had to wear suits and ties. And this was my enter into adulthood. I at the time, I realized I was lucky. I didn't realize how lucky I really was to just get to spend 10 years doing this, working with the costumers, the choreographers, everything with goofy, beautiful Milt Larson and Dick Sherman. Everybody drinking after the show, and that's what you did at that age. You drank and you created new songs together. So it was pretty cool. And even again, this movie was my soundtrack of life. I probably wanted to be Julie Andrews too, between Sound of Music and that, just like you, Heather. But I didn't have the voice. You have the voice. I didn't. At that young, tender age, I knew I didn't have the voice. But even Dick Van Dyke, I must say, me being the Hollywood kid, it's been, well, it was pre-COVID now, so it was probably over 5 years ago, but not that many years ago. Buddy Hackett was a comedian. His wife had these yearly psychic parties. They would bring in a dozen of like the top psychics in Hollywood, and we would all be scattered around her big Beverly Hills, and all the old celebrities would come in and get readings all night long. So I was reading Joanne Worley and Dick Van Dyke and just everybody that we grew up in. But every one of them, they lived there. We talk about now my brand and this and that, and this is Richard-Lael's brand and this is my brand and all this. These people lived it. Joanne Worley literally showed up, and there she literally tripped over she did her little ha-ha in her big thing in her big caftan dress, and it was just a party that she did. Dick Van Dyke showed up, and again, he was well into his 90s by then, maybe not 101. He literally did a version of the trip over the Ottoman on his entrance to the party. You did not walk into a party. Every one of them made an entrance. And again, I'm just like, I am the luckiest girl in Hollywood to get to experience this old Hollywood while they're still here. And again, he is still here. So when I get to watch this movie and I get to see what he's doing and still doing, look at that. VintageLosAngeles.net. Look at that.
And how dangerous to do that pratfall in your 90s.
I know. And
right?
and he was the goofy and the wiggly legs, and he did the whole thing. And and then he would come sit down with me, my little two-top, to do tarot readings and stuff. Each one of them, cloud nine. I think I got to do it 2 or 3 years in a row. It was the desired job of the year for every known psychic in Hollywood, and lucky enough to get it 2 or 3 times. But back to this movie again. Movie stars were different then. I'm sorry. Movie stars, music, all of it. That's it. That's all I'm going to talk about. Moving on.
There was a stunt that Dick Van Dyke did, and I can't remember what film it was, but it was recent, like 10 years ago, where he jumped onto the top of a desk, and it would have been in his 90s, and I can't remember which one it was, but still, at that age, I mean, it's amazing. He will live to be 200 at his pace.
It's true. Well, in December, he's going to be 101. I can't remember the exact date. It's late December. So he's going to be 101, and we need to celebrate. That's a milestone. That is. I was shocked. I didn't realize he was that old. I knew he was old, but I didn't realize it. 1925 is when he was born. The world was such a different place then.
And he still goes out. He still goes. I mean, it's not like he's home in the old folks' home.
He's the
I have
witch.
to admit, I loved him though when he played the doctor on
Diagnosis Murder.
Diagnosis Murder. I was that little old lady sitting at home watching Dick Van Dyke play a doctor, Diagnosis Murder. Loved that show. Little old lady.
Well, I will. If nobody else wants to give their opinion of this movie, I will. I would love to. I would love to share it. My opinion. Brace yourselves. This is my childhood. I had the record. I had the 45 for my little plastic record player, the one with that flipped up. I had a little record player, Disney on it. I had Disney everything. I grew up with. I've said so many times on this show, Disney was so much a part of my. Whether it was live action Disney, animated Disney, and of course I did my master's work on animated Disney. But this movie, when I hear the music, it brings me back to being that 5-year-old again. I love Julie Andrews and everything she did. I love this movie in particular. It was, I listened to the soundtrack over and over and over again, that and Sound of Music. And this movie can do no wrong. That wasn't the one I had. I had the one with the other cover, that with the big faces on it. I mean, I look at that image, and if you could, that's a piece of magic right there, is when you can look at an image from your childhood and it could bring you back to you feel exactly the way you did back then. And that is how this movie is for me. I enjoyed the second one. I had to watch it, of course. And I enjoyed it. And maybe if that had been something maybe if I had been small and watched it, it would ring the same way. Of course, that is not possible. I don't remember the music from it, but I remember liking the movie. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed all of the acting, Lin-Manuel Miranda and all of the stuff. But I don't remember the music, which is a big part for musicals for me. I want to remember the music. I want to walk away singing. So kudos to them. They did a great job with the second one. I can't criticize it because the first one is such a big part of who I was as a child that it's hard to compare. It's not a fair comparison whatsoever, because there's a layer of nostalgia on this movie that will never end. I was fascinated with the animation and everything Disney at that point. So yeah. But the interesting thing is, I'll just bring this up real quick, that we talked about Bedknobs and Broomsticks already, and it was because of the success of this movie that we wound up with Bedknobs and Broomsticks, which was not the success that they hoped it would be. But it was created almost 10 years later during a period of time that Disney was, the Disney company was struggling. So that's a whole nother story for another discussion. But yes, that's why Bedknobs and Broomsticks was created.
I didn't mind it.
I do.
What was that?
I didn't mind it.
I did.
I must say, I remember being a little frightened by the chimney sweeps when I was a kid.
Really?
Because I loved the movie, it was a little spooky. The running down the streets and all that. That was just. I don't think I liked all the dirt. I was like, they're gonna get the house all so dirty. But I still loved every moment of that movie. The animation was a trip too. Because this is 1964. They didn't have all the stuff that we have now, all those special effects, and I think they did really good.
Actually, pretty clever. I'm glad you brought that up. But when they are on the carousel horses were actually in the picture. They were in the frame. They were painted to look like they were drawings, but they were actually in the picture. Everything else around them was not, but the horses were. Clever. Very clever.
Very clever.
There was somebody in the chat that also said that this movie scared them as a child. And I don't know why. If you said that, tell us why. What?
It's scary. It's for one, it's Disney, which is terrifying. Number one. Number two, it has traumatized me in my adult years, not my younger years, because of the chimney sweeps. Number one, people look at me in a velvet coat and a top hat and say, "Oh, are you a chimney sweep?" And I go, "In velvet and a top hat of beaver silk? A chimney sweep? Do I look like I'm covered in soot?" Anyway, so that traumatizes me.
Yeah, I think the chimney sweep was the only scary part, and it was just so bombarding. Again, so dirty, and those big things in their hands, and it was just so many of them in the house and in the yard and all of that. So that was, I like to get scared. I mean, I'm in the paranormal. I like to get scared then. I did seances at 7. I like to get scared now.
And they just pop up, the chimney sweeps, and then pop back down, and they pop up. I could see that being traumatizing. Like, where are these people coming from? Why are they in these chimneys like this? Why are they so in sync? Like, what sort of mental telepathy is going on to coordinate all of these chimney sweeps at the same time?
In 1910, the biggest child employer were chimney sweeps. That's because they can go in places that other people can't. So, their little hands are designed for cleaning chimneys. I think, put them to work. Why not?
They got to pay their fair share.
It's a word in England, sure. It's expensive to live.
I think Jason hasn't shared his view of this film yet. I think he's
so.
worried because I have glasses close by.
No, it's not that. I just kind of think I've been thinking about your recollections of this film, and you and I are of an age together, right? About the same age. And oftentimes our experiences really sync up. And they don't sync up on this film. This was something maybe I saw once in school when you'd have those big assemblies and they bring out like actual film and play movies while you sat on the gym floor and were uncomfortable and pushed and shoved the other kids around you quietly because you were bored. And that is how I felt about this movie as a kid, because I didn't quite understand it yet. And I was like, who are these old people on the screen? If I want a Disney movie, I want Snow White, I want Robin Hood, I want
Sword in the Stone.
Jungle Book. I do not want the Sword in the Stone. Though at the time as a child, maybe I would have. But when I got older and entered my college years, I went back and really watched Disney movies because now they were accessible, because they were on VHS, they were on the Disney Channel. And as a kid, you just couldn't find these things in this era before everything was on demand. And then I understood it, and then I appreciated it, and the songs are great. The animation is stunning and wonderful, and it has this look that really holds up, that it doesn't look dated even when you watch it now, at least in my opinion, because there's just something so classic about all of it. You do kind of see the beginning of the cheapness of that Disney era, where a lot of the human animal characters all sort of look the same, which would really come into play later with Robin Hood and Jungle Book. But, Julie Andrews and Dick Van Dyke are just so charming, and the songs are just so good, and they're such earworms. But as a child, I was sort of take it or leave it. I was also probably a boy and didn't quite get the idea that this is a movie helmed by a woman as the main character, which when you're a kid, it's like, no, let's watch Star Wars when you were like my age. But now I like it. No glasses are necessary tonight.
That's good. And I think I also love musicals. And so I was watching and surrounded, and I started in work in dance and music when I was 4 and 5 years old. And I was surrounded being in the background of musicals. And I was looking at Broadway, and I could see Manhattan skyline from my bedroom window, and it was everything. So to have a Disney movie that I already loved, plus one with music in this way that was more like a musical, not the way Disney worked music into its other films, it was everything to me. And of course, there you go, Julie Andrews again. So who I don't know to this day, well, I know why, but they did not use her for, she should have been in My Fair Lady and was not, because that's one of her big Broadway hits that she did
Yeah.
when she was younger, and she was not in the Hollywood version of it. Audrey Hepburn did that, but one of the sad parts, not to have her in the movie. But that's a side note. I was really into musicals, and I think that's one of the reasons that would have made it different for you and I, Jason. But anyway.
And I agree with your thoughts on the second one, which I just actually watched on my own before I knew we were doing Mary Poppins just a couple weeks ago, because I remember liking it, but none of the songs are memorable at all. And most people know all of the songs from Mary Poppins after you sing just one or two lines. And the second movie is really cute, and you can see when they try to recreate certain scenes from the original movie, and they mostly do a good job, but the songs just aren't there at all, which is a really, really big disappointment.
Because they don't repeat it 17 times. They don't repeat it 17 times. They don't repeat it 17 times. They don't repeat it 17 times.
17 times.
Oh, there they all are. There was
Who did the music for the second one? It wasn't the Sherman Brothers, I'm sure.
No.
No, it was Lin-Manuel Miranda, which is probably why it's kind of surprising that it wasn't as memorable as we kind of thought it would be.
It just wasn't, but it was lovely, and they did a nice tribute to it. We'll call it that. But I'm wrong. It's not Lin-Manuel Miranda. I just looked it up. So I have to apologize to Mr. Manuel Miranda for accusing him of doing the music. I was going to say is the Sherman Brothers music, and can we have that graphic again? Because the music, all of that music, like I can see, this is Mary Poppins, but they produced many box sets of the music, and so many Sherman Brothers songs. The Tiki 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 Room from the theme park, all of that stuff. I mean, if you were a Disney person, you know all of that music, and it's amazing that it was them. It's amazing that the Sherman Brothers did all of the songs, and every single one of them I can sing. Having grown up so much with Disney, having those box sets of all the songs from the movie, from the parks to the movies, to the animated movies, to everything. The TV they were on in the 50s. It's crazy. It's amazing you met them.
I could sing them too. They just wouldn't sound as good as when you sing. And Milt Larson, again, he was a TV writer in the 50s. Him and Dick Sherman were the best buddies. He was from game show writer to comedy show writer. The whole Larson brother family was Bill and Milt Larson, and it was the two Sherman brothers. These, again, they were just living the old Hollywood life well into 2 years ago, 3 years ago. They've just both recently passed.
I can't think about this movie without thinking about Saving Mr. Banks, though. To me, you have Mary Poppins Returns, and Saving Mr. Banks, kind of like a trilogy, because the story of how this was made is so interesting to me, with Walt Disney begging for those rights for 20 plus years and then never giving up, which is pretty incredible. Most people would have said, I'll do something else by then, but he was so invested in it, and his take on it was so different than Travers' original books too. What does everybody think of that movie?
I actually liked it because I was in it. I liked it. And I meet people. I have a lot of friends who were actually in it. So when I watch it, I like that. I like that person. As far as the original film, what I do have, there's besides Dick Van Dyke's dreadful accent, the one thing that really does bother me is that Mrs. Banks is a suffragette, and she is part of the reason she can't raise the children is because she is pro women's rights. Mm-hmm. And then sort of at the end, it sort of is alluded that she sort of is no longer a suffragette, that she wants equal rights, but she kind of just is like, oh, but now a family, now the family. And I don't know. I just kind of wish that she could have done both equally, maybe.
I didn't get that she gave up her suffragettism.
Okay, I could be wrong.
Well, that would explain why I saw this movie on a tradwife list. So maybe that take is the correct one, Richard-Lael.
Well, it was 1964, and all of the movies at this period of time, if you think about Bewitched and a lot of the other movies that we've seen, and I talk about this in my book, they give women characters like the mom in this film the opportunity and the time, the screen time to go out and do things that are not traditional. They give the witch a time to be a witch. They give witches what I write about witchcraft as the allegory for a woman doing what she wants to do. So here you see the mom going out, but the movies always end with that family note. They always end. Think about the movie I married a witch. She's a witch throughout the whole thing, but at the end she gets married and has the family and the kid, and her hair's up and she's knitting and all that stuff. So these movies typically end, and not just witch films, with the woman is going out and doing her shtick. She's suffragette, she's whatever, and then she comes back and says, "No, I need the family." This is very, very typical character curve for a female character in 1964. It isn't.
Do you know what else came out in 1964 that was completely opposite of that? The Addams Family.
And the Addams Family was that, and Bewitched broke a lot of boundaries. TV pushed that boundary and started changing. And typically TV changes things socially in films, in our culture, before movies do, which is crazy to think about. But yes, Addams Family was remarkable for sure, Richard-Lael.
We all love Addams Family. I just want to
Addams Family.
I just want where Oceana says she put the sash on the kite. Well, my job is done. I did not. I saw it's like she's advertising still. I'm a suffragette. Women have the vote. Now she's got a billboard, like the early version of a flying by airplane that says use copper tone. It was. Not that she wasn't giving up her suffragette. She was advertising it high and wide. So it's all perspective.
True. Yep.
It's all.
But things begin to change.
Yeah. So anyway, anything else we want to talk about this movie? Do we have any quotes for this movie? We don't have Miss Courtney.
Heather Greene has some quotes.
I do?
Yeah. I mean, you could sing the lyrics, so those are
quotes.
I get on the on spot, and I can't remember. You put me on the spot. I can't remember a single lyric. That's the problem. I need them out in front of me.
Well, what do you remember? A spoonful of sugar.
Yes, feed the birds, tuppence a bag. Tuppence a bag. I have the list up again if you want me to say another one, because I can't remember. Let's see. Pressure. Chim chimney, chim chiroo. A sweep is as lucky. I lost it. Chim chimney, chim chiroo. Good luck will rub off when I shakes hands with you.
I always want to say I've got another riddle for you. Like, to me, I get lost in Willy Wonka for a second.
No, that's so funny. That's so funny.
Another riddle for you.
I would like to know if everybody is more of a Maria von Trapp nanny fan or a Mary Poppins nanny. Which one's better?
Maria von Trapp, because her married life is none of my business.
Sherry Bobbins from The Simpsons, of course. That is not a take on a Disney character at all. Sherry Bobbins. Completely original.
Well, I'm sticking with Mary Poppins, though I love Von Trapp. All right, we're going off course here for a second. Jason, Mary Poppins. Jason, do you have whatever it is you're doing these days?
Whatever it is that I'm doing, yeah. I guess I do.
Movie moment that
I think it's the Mankey mystery moment.
Mankey mystery moment.
It's it's hard to write jokes now for 3 years about all of these movies, and today was an especially difficult day for me to write jokes. I had planned this whole bit about how glorious England is, and how Dick Van Dyke shaped my English accent so that I can fit in with the locals when I'm in London. Shine your shoes, Governor. Hey, Mary Poppins, I'm a chimney sweep. Yes, I am. And then this afternoon, England pissed away their World Cup semifinal game. And since then, I've been sort of heartbroken and don't want to talk about England for 4 minutes because it will truly cause me pain. I've been a fan of the English national team since 1986. And this is what they always do. Like, they just break me at the end. which leads to questions for myself, like, why do I watch soccer? Why do I watch any sports at all? Because the lows of these things can be so low. If any of you are watching the World Cup and are rooting for a particular team, you know what that is. Like when your team loses, it just sort of hurts. And today would have been much better for me if I had just spent it reading a book, scrubbing my toilet, or doing practically anything else but watching soccer. I remember this was years ago. I was watching my beloved Pittsburgh Steelers. That's an American football team, by the way, which is, I know none of you watch sports. And they lost a conference championship game. And I was so distraught. I just went upstairs to my bedroom and I cried for 2 hours straight, peeling off my football jersey and throwing it into the dirty clothes basket after it was covered with tears, and then hiding other clothes on top of it for months and not washing it again until August. And I only did that because a new season was getting ready to kick off. And that is a low feeling. It's a low feeling. And I don't think I ate anything for 4 days after that game. Called in sick to work the next day because I didn't want to talk to anybody after my team had lost. And I felt like that today watching England lose. And a spoonful of sugar did not help that medicine go down at all. But on the other hand, the highs of sports are also pretty high. 1 year later, my beloved Pittsburgh Steelers won the Super Bowl, and I remember taking my Steeler flag and running around my neighborhood after the game was over and waving that flag around and yelling like a lunatic. This was when I lived in Michigan, so it was late at night, and it was 1 degree outside, Fahrenheit, and the sidewalks were all covered in ice, but I didn't care. I was so happy and so thrilled and was screaming so high and was just so full of energy. And I was also probably drunk, but I didn't fall, slip, or break my neck, which is like 2 victories in 1. But like me in sports, so many of the things we truly love have extreme highs and lows, which reminds me a lot of this show. I remember when we reviewed Wicked Part 1, and I said that it was boring in the middle. I had never felt so piled on during this show in my life after saying that. I'm used to Courtney hexing me, but I felt like Heather was going to reach out from my computer screen and slap me across the face, perhaps convince Llewellyn to take my 10 books out of print. Everyone in the coven disagreed with me. Even my main man, Richard-Lael, didn't back me up. I was nearly crying by the end of the show. And over the next 3 or 4 days, I expected our producer, Rob, to send me a text saying, Patti has decided that you shouldn't be on the show. And then next Wednesday rolls around and everything was back to normal. And I have to tell you all, this is true, and I was convinced of this. And then I was loved again. So apart from having to watch The Spirit, The Sorcerer's Apprentice, The Conjuring, Last Rites, Hansel and Gretel Get Baked, Ouija Shark, Velocipaster, The Killing Tree, and probably another 20 movies I'm forgetting, that night was the lowest of the lows here. The highest of the highs, though, has always been the friendships I've made along the way. And that's not just with the people you see on screen. I've sipped scotch in Christine and Rob's apartment. They are our producers. And I also drank a lot of vodka with them once. And I've ran into all sorts of people who want to meet Black Phillip at pagan events across the country. And it's those highs, finding an extended family and being able to share an hour with them every week, that keeps me coming back for more. And it's in those moments of friendship and chosen family that I feel some of the highest of highs. And that's very much the same sort of feeling I get when I jog around my neighborhood in the freezing cold with a flag when my favorite sports team wins a title. So yes, tonight I'm putting on a brave face, even though I'm gutted on the inside and I'm feeling the lowest of lows. But luckily, this show was happening tonight, and those lows are balanced out with the highest of highs, as long as we don't talk about Wicked Part 1.
Amazing as always. Thank you so much. Yeah, we got to figure out
I
what
had
you
this
do.
beautiful Dick Van Dyke thing to do, and then I really was gutted.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes, truck lesbian.
Just, Jason, a spoonful of sugar will make the medicine go down.
It's true.
The medicine go down.
The medicine go down.
All right. On that note,
The menacing
wands. Grab your wands or your umbrella or your carpet bag. Wands up,
Or your
wands
pen.
down.
I didn't mind it.
This is up.
Oh,
This is way up. This is
This
super,
is super
way,
way
up.
up. Mine's super way up. Jason's is super way up. What is that?
Mine?
No, Jason's.
oh,
It's a crystal on top.
Huh,
I'm sorry. I was picturing a big hula skirt on top. Never mind. White screen. All right. So up, and almost up, wiggly up, getting there, Richard-Lael. Come on, Richard-Lael. Come on. Okay, you guys in the chat room, what do we got? We got wands up, duh. Oh, so abstaining.
She's a witch. She's a witch.
She's a witch. She's a
Is
witch.
Bert a witch? To answer the producers,
She's
yes,
a
Bert
witch.
is also a witch.
She's a
wands
witch.
up for Mary.
Just
Wands
a-
up for Mary Poppins.
Wands neutral. We got a neutral. Wands up because it was a nice
Mary Poppins.
great escape. We want to live in that world where you could go into a painting. Who doesn't?
Seriously.
Wands up, umbrella at the bag of the ready. Go Tabitha. Okay, I think wands up are winning. It's practically unanimous.
Wands neutral.
It's practically perfect in every way.
Practically perfect in every way. Yes. Oh, there's a quote.
Yep.
There.
There's one.
All right. Well, which way the wind is blowing? I think the wind is blowing towards
Yes.
getting towards the end. But before we go, do we know what we are doing next week?
Forbidden Fruit. It's the movie it just came out. It's supposedly The Craft meets Mean Girls.
Okay. Forbidden Fruit just came out. Everybody watch it, and we'll
Do
have.
we know where to find it?
Let me look. I think it's Netflix or something like that. I will look right now for everybody. Forbidden Fruits. Streaming.
Because if it's bad and I have to spend $10 again, my wife's going to get mad at me.
No, it's Apple TV and Amazon has it and YouTube and AMC, and it looks like it's not $10. Google Play, Fandango.
$9.99.
No, it's not $9.99 from what I'm looking at.
Okay, so everybody watch Forbidden Fruit. Let's see what we get. And does anybody we have a couple minutes left, have anything coming up? Like Heather, start with you. Anybody near you?
Mystic South. It is coming up tomorrow. Starting tomorrow night, we have opening ceremony and ritual, and then a gathering, and then we start Friday morning, and we go all the way through Sunday. So come on, if you're in the Atlanta metro area, tickets can be purchased on site. Join us. We've got classes, we've got rituals, we've got vendors, we've got healers and readers, and just a whole lot of witches having fun.
Yay. Thank you very much. Jason.
I've got nothing coming up. I'm just at home for 2 months, and I'm going to go stir crazy by the end of it. Just everybody, if you live in the Southeast, go to Mystic South. It's wonderful. It's great. And you'll have a wonderful time, and I'll be very jealous that you're there while I'm at home.
I will get there one of these days. Richard-Lael.
Black Phillip.
I'm here in New Orleans. I am easy to find, thegentlemanpsychic.com, doing seances and tarot readings here in my home. I'm easy to find. Also, you can find me at University Magicus right there. That's me.
Thank you very much. Next week, if you're anywhere near Eureka Springs, Arkansas, I'm going to be doing this really cool event called Obscuricon, doing all sorts of obscure and con things, ghost hunts, seances, workshops, classes in Eureka Springs, Arkansas. And then I'm headed days later to New Orleans for New Orleans Paracon. It's the first time Paracon is doing all sorts of fun things, like exclusive, like small groups, like 10 people seances and dinners. Bigger things too, as well as ghost hunts and workshops. I think I'm teaching 4 workshops that weekend, from haunted dolls to psychic development to moon magic to all sorts of things. And then it gets busy after that, heading back to Midsummer Scream. But you guys check it. Follow all of us. Please like us on social media. We just want you to like us, including Mystery Control, including Witches Movie Coven, including each of us individually. We're all on all or most of the social medias. We all have websites. We almost all have books. So
Love me, say that you love me.
say that you love me. We could write a song. And then one day, what we want to do, would you guys want to come? We want to do a live thing, like a screening together. We want to all get together. We're still working. We're getting really close to that. So will you guys come see us live? And we could do fun things like movie watching workshops, rituals, goats.
Goats. All the Black Phillips together at the same time.
Oh my
Cackling.
goodness.
All right. Thank you again, Tabitha in the room. Thank you, Rob and Christine in the background, keeping us here. Thank you, Thumper, wherever you ended up. We love you very much. And he tried. He was here. So on that note, we have one last thing to do because we are witches. 1, 2, 3.